It's a Friday afternoon. I hop into my car immediately after work and start my weekly pilgrimage. Throughout the journey, I have dubstep blaring out of my car speakers. Dubstep is one of those genres that if I was ever embarrassed about something I love, this would be it. However, for as cacophonic and chaotic the music is, there's something soothing about it. Soothing is good because my event resides in Maitland, and Friday rush hour traffic on 1792 is maddening. Whoever designed that road, with all of its unnecessary stoplights and cramped streets permanently under construction, should be dragged out and shot. The sun sets painfully into my eyes. I squint in futile resistance. Despite this, I can't help but to feel excited. I'm getting closer to my destination. My Friday nights aren't spent going to clubs, movies, or bars, no. I go up to Maitland every week for Friday Night Magic, a weekly Magic the Gathering tournament, strategy card game where you assume the role of a planeswalker, aka wizard, and you cast different spells against your opponents, trying to kill them before they kill you. It's a more badass version of Harry Potter. It's 6:30 and I can hear the store employee who runs the tournament's voice in my head. Magic players, if you haven't signed up for today's Friday Night Magic event, now would be a good time to do so. I have 15 minutes to get there. My sense of excitement turns to anxiety as I get caught in another red light. I tighten my grip at the steering wheel and scream, I don't have time for this shit. I am a fucking planeswalker. I say this and start to laugh. I know how ridiculous I sound. I'm getting myself into a good mood before the tournament. It's my chance to relax and be myself for a few hours, something I cherish. Traffic eventually clears, and I make it to the store without having to rush too much. I grab my gaming supplies from my trunk, which are carefully organized in a small black and green messenger bag that admittedly looks a bit too close to a purse. It's worth the occasional snarky comment or smirk, however, because the better you get at Magic, the more shit you have to carry with you. I bring not only my deck of cards, but a deck box to hold them in, sleeves to protect the cards, a container of dice, a pen and paper, and a playmat. Honestly, I still don't get why you need a playmat, but it sure as hell looks cool. I straight up get intimidated by other players with playmats when I don't have mine. I'll see my opponent has one, and I'll think, oh shit, his playmat has a dragon on it? I'm fucked. I'm fucked. He's way better than me. I mean, look at that playmat. I have zero chance of winning. I imagine it to be something akin to why ancient Greek warriors painted their shields. The paint didn't help in battle, but it sure made them look scary. I take the 2 steps that lead up to the game store in a single bound, feeling like a kid for a brief instant, and stride into the double glass doors. The first thing that always hits me about the store is the smell. Clean, sterile, and that's very surprising when considering a stereotype of its clientele. We gamers aren't known for our hygiene. I once had to concede a match because my opponent smelled too bad. Usually you shake hands and say, good game, but I kind of politely nodded my head, trying not to breathe, and left. The store is a well-lit, large space. A glass counter runs down the length of a wall, fully stocked with gaming supplies I previously mentioned. Employees man the counter like a rampart, defending off hordes of gamers as they try to make purchases and sign up for the tournament. There's never any worry about running out of anything, as they have a giant warehouse in the back. I imagine it to be a dark, lengthy labyrinth where the dusty bones of unlucky former employees lie. The open floor of the store is lined with card tables, covered in black tablecloth. Little signs with numbers on them rest on the tables, indicating where you sit during the tournament. The closer you are to seat 1, the better you are doing. Admittedly, I feel like I'm Magic royalty when I reach table 1. I look out at the rest of the matches and think, mere peasants shall bow before the king of the nerds. Magic isn't the only game that is played in the game store. Many people just play board games or other card games. Yu-Gi-Oh! Is one such card game. I have absolutely no idea how it's played, and quite frankly, the player base scares the shit out of me. I don't like to judge, but from what I gather, players place cards on the table and then inexplicably scream at each other for long periods of time. Giant loud wails of exultation or horrendous cries of defeat fight had broken out behind me. No, just a Yu-Gi-Oh match. This can be especially distracting for Magic players who have some degree of logic needed to play well, and it's really hard to think with screaming every few seconds. You probably guessed by now that most of the player base for any of these games are males. That is not to say there are only guys at the store, but they certainly are the majority. I remember I invited one of my female friends to a tournament night, and she asked me if the ladies' room would be clean or not. I laughed and replied, "You're probably the first person to ever use it, so I bet the bathroom is immaculate." The same thing can't be said for the men's room. The urinal sinks all the way to the ground, so I can't help but feel like I'm peeing on the floor. Not to mention, there seems to always be a pool of toilet water, at least I hope it is water, in front of it. It's never pleasant, especially when you get the socially awkward types that either A, try to talk to you when you're trying to pee, or B, hover right behind you as if there's some imaginary line they are waiting in. I have a strict code that I do not try to flirt with women at my game store. This is practical because most are here with their boyfriends anyway, and I'd rather not be on the receiving end of jealousy-induced nerd rage. Seriously, nerd rage is the power to fear. I know a friend who is the nicest guy in the world, but a guy picked a fight with him, and the end result was that my friend caved the man's eye socket in with one punch. I believe it was Quoth from In the Name of the Wind who said, "There are three things all wise men fear: the sea and the storm, a night with no moon, and the anger of a gentle man." Wise words indeed. It was time to start the tournament for the night. The first round pairings were posted up. We flocked, like nerdy sheep, to the list posted up on the bulletin board. The pairings almost have a Hunger Games quality to them. You get some players looking already defeated, knowing full well who their opponent is. You also have the lucky ones, who get a new player or a younger kid. They're happy to have what we call a human buy round. Yeah, nerds are pretty cutthroat. I sat down at my table and took a deep breath. There are 5 rounds total tonight, and would well be past midnight by the time we were done. "Magic players," I hear the head of the event say, "welcome to round 1. You have 50 minutes. You may begin." And with that, I shuffled my deck, shook my opponent's hand, and introduced myself. We cut each other's decks and wished one another good luck. Although, of course, neither player meant good luck. It's just a formality. We were out for fictitious blood. I felt the smooth, shiny covers of my magic cards. I drew my 7 spells and smiled at my opponent. Arrogance affixed on my face that said, "Just try and beat me." My Friday ritual began, and I was happy. Thank you.